What is going on, everyone? Welcome back to the Sports Bible Podcast. My name is Richie. This is Rob. You know our names right now, and we got a jam-packed podcast. I know Football Sunday was yesterday. Well, you guys will be hearing this on Tuesday, so the full week will be done when you guys hear this. Broncos play Seattle tonight. Need the Broncos to win. I'm in a survival pool, and I picked the Niners, thinking, you know what? Even if Lance doesn't play well, it's the Bears. Like, yeah, little did I know that was terrible. And then as far as fantasy football goes, if you guys care, I had 3 wins, and I'm probably gonna lose one game unless Denver has like an all-world performance on defense. But Saquon Barkley, that was very nice.
Russell
That was
Wilson
it.
return, right?
Yeah, I think they're in Seattle. Yeah, so that would be his return. I'm afraid it's gonna get weird because of that, and that Denver's gonna lose, but I don't think that's gonna happen. I think Denver's a better team. Even I think last year with Russell Wilson on Seattle compared to Denver's team with Teddy Bridgewater, I still think Denver was better than them last year. So now you take the quarterback, like
Yeah, that they clearly showed that they were just missing an arm for a while.
yeah, the Broncos haven't been able to replace Manning or like how they had the whole Tebow thing. But besides that, Peyton Manning,
Case Keenum,
yeah, he'd go back up. He was in the Browns last year, and then like they had Paxton Lynch, Trevor Simeon, Bridgewater. They haven't really found a guy in a while. They thought they had it in Brock Osweiler, then he signed with the Texans, and it turns out he actually just sucked. And but let's keep talking. They're sponsored by Poland Spring. No, we're not. But it's my drink of the day, water.
this what it is sponsored by though. This one's for the boys who love us at home.
Oh, where'd you get that hat?
My first day.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Yeah, that'd be pretty cool actually if they actually sponsored our podcast. But you know, hindsight, not 2020, but looking forward. Anyway, we are gonna for scheduling for make it easier for you guys. We're gonna come out with this every Tuesday now that me and Rob are finally on consistent schedules and we're both off Mondays and Tuesdays. So this is the best time to record and edit. Got nothing else to do. And but so today we got a jam-packed schedule. We're gonna go through week one a little bit. Top storylines, obviously Dak Prescott, his hand. Cowboys offense looked bad. Bucks not so much, not as good, not that great either. We'll get into that. We have our standings predictions for the NBA.
Yeah,
You know,
I bothered Rich a little too much. It's actually it's been
you what?
I bothered you a little too much for this. It's been you can
Yeah,
hear
we put this off for like a month. Yeah, I hear you.
you can hear me good, right?
Yeah, I hear you.
I wasn't sure if my air was too loud, but yeah, like I've been talking to you about this since the end of July, beginning of August, about the prediction standings, and you were like, "All right, simmer down. Like we're getting into football."
Yeah, and it's also like Mitchell wasn't even traded yet.
Yeah, and just, everyone knows me in basketball. I just been itching for
Yeah,
content and really just play since we lost in the finals, of course.
yeah. And we'll do a quick breeze into with baseball as well. It kind of looks like it's set what it's going to be like the 6 teams in each conference or league, but like the Braves Mets division race, the AL Central division race, AL East division race got a little more interesting because the Yankees were struggling, even though they're playing better now. So we got a lot to talk about today. So let's stop rambling. But right before we get into it, I'm going to ramble a little bit longer. Just like, subscribe, find us anywhere: Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, not Facebook, not MySpace. We're 21. We don't have MySpace, or Rob's 24, but yeah, no MySpace.
Birthday coming up for you,
Sunday. Yep, I'm 22 on Sunday.
sir.
And then so yeah, you find us anywhere. It's at Sports Bible Pod. Anywhere you find us, we're gonna work on getting some things out soon. There's more consistent episodes. We're not gonna push anything else besides that right now, and then we'll go from there. But we appreciate who does listen to this, and we appreciate everyone that follows us around. Spread the word. Tell your friends. Tell your acquaintances. Tell people you hate. Tell people you love. Don't care.
We'll
Just
probably do one in person for everyone too eventually.
yeah, we gotta get that set up. Now I have a little bit of a more professional setup since I'm going to be working from home for a little bit. So we might be able to get that squared away. But for now, we're on Zoom. Although I think it would probably still be on Zoom, but we'd be on one camera. But we're on Zoom,
Remote work.
and
We are.
yeah, it's cool whenever it does come about. But for now, we're good. So to get into it, we're gonna start off today. We're gonna do our standings predictions. For the NBA, we kind of talked about it before, but we didn't really like fully go into it. So I have mine written down, and then Rob has his. Rob, do you want to go first?
You can go first.
Okay, we're gonna go 15-1 for both conferences because I'm gonna ramble off the first five. No one cares about the first five. We'll do West first. I got Jazz, the worst team in the league. I think they're still trading guys. Like they're getting rid of everyone. Their best player is gonna be Jordan Clarkson going into the year. It's not or Mike Conley. Like it's not
Go top to bottom. I want to hear you go top to bottom.
top to, okay. Okay.
It's from my point of view.
You know what's crazy about what I'm going to say right now? My 1 seed and my 15 seed played each other in the playoffs 2 years ago. That's crazy. Especially in the NBA when there's not that much. There's usually good teams stay good. Especially these teams have been consistently good for a couple years. But okay, so we're going to start off. I have the 1 seed as the injury-free, hopefully, Denver Nuggets. It's a little bit not out of the realm, in my opinion, to do this, but in my opinion, I'm looking at it here. Denver, Michael Porter, fully healthy. Jamal Murray's probably going to be fully healthy because he didn't rush back from his ACL. I think that's very important. He took extra time almost. Not saying he didn't play like unhealthy or whatever, but he took he's going to be more than 100% when he comes back. And Jokic. And I think that Bones Highland is going to take major strides this year as well. I think the acquisition or the addition of Bruce Brown is a good move. I think you bring up KCP all the time. It's a good move. Aaron Gordon's still there. I think that they have all the makings of a good regular season team when healthy, because if you put them all together, the Warriors are going to coast. Dallas is going to go through some aches and pains because they lost Brunson, just brought in Christian Wood. And then the guys like Suns, Clippers, like I have the next couple teams I'm going to start. That wasn't in any order, by the way. Teams that are going to go through some stuff because Denver's looking to take that next step. And I think you have to have a sense of urgency from the get-go to do that.
So you want me to – can I give you – for each one you say, can I give you like a quick recap?
Yeah, I mean, for some teams, it's not going to be much. But, yeah, for the 1 seed, definitely.
I like the take. I definitely do. I think that they'll be, within the top 4 for sure. And I think that's a very good sleeper. You hit on every point. MVP the last 2 years. For the past year and a half, we've been like, if he had his weapons, well, now they're a little stronger. Obviously.
And better on defense.
Yeah.
Better defensively, too.
Everyone loves the coaching staff, better defensively. They've been high on Caldwell Pope for quite some time now. They lost Monte Morris. They lost Will Barton, but Caldwell Pope fits in with his 3-and-D at the 2. Next to the Joker, you got Murray coming back. Like you said, he didn't rush back. Porter, that's their big all eyes on him with the money they gave him and how high they're on him. Me and you talked about Jeremy Grant off camera. They let him walk to Detroit when he was a free agent because they wanted to pay Porter that money and they were so high on him. They still got Aaron Gordon.
They have DeAndre Jordan as well.
Who?
Nuggets.
They signed him?
It's on the roster. He wasn't on the team last year, so it's not like this is last year's.
I want to check. I didn't even know that.
Yeah.
We might be cutting this part out as well.
No, I'll fill the time. It's good. Yeah, they got. I mean, these guys are not the greatest, but they got a couple guys like Bones Highland, Caldwell Pope, Jokic, Bruce Brown.
Bones Highland, obviously they're really high on him. He'll have a big comeback year. Yeah, July 12th. Denver Nuggets signed DeAndre Jordan. I thought he was still there. I thought I saw his name like within the rumors and stuff. I didn't know he actually put a pen to paper.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, I just think that they have all the makings to be like the prototypical one seed that like maybe not favored in the finals, but win 62 like 55 to 60 games in the regular season. All right,
Yeah,
moving
like
along now. What's up?
season experience too. Keep going.
Yeah, and Jokic just I mean he three-time MVP, he'd probably lock himself in as a Hall of Famer and probably top 10 all time, but that's if he wins it. Two, not much here, Golden State. Just think they're gonna be a locomotive. They lost Gary Payton, I believe. Yeah, they lost Gary Payton. They lost like Juan Toscano Anderson, I believe. So like guys like that aren't. I think Gary Payton's important because there's defense, but if Jonathan Kuminga keeps progressing the way he is, James Wiseman comes back, then they're the Warriors. They have Steph, they have Clay, they have Draymond. They're fine.
Yeah, like they're my 2 seed as well. Little preview. They did lose them. Toscano never played. Peyton was obviously a big energy boost in the finals, and
We're talking about the regular season right now, though. You know, like this. Yeah,
it's just like Juan never played regardless. Peyton is a big spark for them, and they might miss him in his defense, but like it's not like they're that much missing it. Like Wiseman's coming back, like you said.
Yeah.
Porter's gone. He hit some big shots for them, but like again,
you can find like those guys throughout the year.
Yeah, and we see how special of a system they are for years now. Like Damian Lee's on Phoenix, but also never saw the floor. And they brought in DiVincenzo was the other piece to that Brunson trade I made. They brought him in, and it's kind of like Wiggins to where, yeah, he's not as good, and he's shown he's a little mediocre in his early career, but he's three-point shooter that can get hot, and it's like the same thing as Wiggins, as if like it's going to work anywhere, it's here, and you can fit our bench. So
yeah,
I like them as the 2 seed, especially if they stay healthy, and I think Clay will be stronger, and Jordan Poole is only improving.
Yep. So keep moving now. Dallas at 3. I think they proved last year that Luka's kind of keep getting better. Christian Wood's a better fit than Porzingis was, and Dinwiddie is Jalen Brunson. The problem is they just now have to replace Dinwiddie with the guy on the bench, and I don't know really where they go with that. But in the regular season, like I said, Luka is Luka. Dinwiddie was great last year off the bench. I'm a little nervous though about their depth.
They both they got in the interior. They got McGee. They got
Wood. They just signed Maxi Kleber too.
Yeah, and they like him a lot. Like he's like Finney Smith. He can get hot from 3. Bertans doesn't even need to play. It's just they needed some muscle inside, and that's what they got. They got besides Wood, JaVale McGee with experience, who's been there before, and beautifully said. Like now it's on Dinwiddie to fill in the shoes for Brunson. And can he do it? I think he can. And they're super high on him because they saw what he did in Brooklyn pre-ACL injury. And now it's his calling again to be that secondary ball handler.
Yeah, for sure. And then my thing is with them is that making me a little nervous is that they had Brunson and Dinwiddie last year. But then again, they didn't have Christian Wood because like Porzingis was next to useless with them.
Hardaway his leg or did something to his leg. So
is he back?
I think so.
He's on the okay, yeah. So they have Brandon Knight. Wow, that's interesting. Yeah, so they're reliable. They're relying on Luka again, but I think Wood will help a lot. I think he's a little more skilled than Porzingis.
He can play perimeter too. Like he could.
Yeah. And then 5, I have the Clippers. I just think healthy. Like people forget that they didn't have George basically for the entire year last year. Kawhi tore his ACL, and they still went to the what was the play-in round?
Did you skip 4 by chance?
What did you say?
Did you skip 4, or am I wrong?
Oh yeah, my bad. 4, I have Phoenix, but I think they're gonna regress a little bit just because Chris Paul is getting older, but they'll be there at the end. I think they might come out hot next year because of the sour taste of losing to Dallas the way they did in Game 7. But in the NBA, like it's not like the NFL where it's like 16, 17 games. Like this 82 games, you gotta get into a rhythm. But they didn't do much. They kind of have the same roster. They didn't trade for Kevin Durant, so they returned Cam Johnson. They returned obviously Devin Booker, Chris Paul. They got Ayton back for more money. But that's it. From a roster construction standpoint, it's the same. Mikal Bridges is back.
It's
So nothing
it's
really changes there for me.
the typical NBA recency bias. It's just like, all right, well, we saw them choke it twice. We're ready to move on with them. But
No,
yeah,
I just think like because they might start like limiting Chris Paul. Like he might start getting load management.
for
Although
sure.
he kind of got it last year because he got hurt, but a
Yeah,
little
and
different that way.
yeah, not yeah, beautifully said. Not a significant amount, but leading up to March, April, February, maybe like they'll be more cautious with his minutes load. He's
Yeah, because he kind of burned out at the end.
on that LeBron tier. That's like he's different, and like you don't have to worry about it so much. Like it's not like Boston, like with Horford, and
Mhm.
like having Rob Williams, and wanting another front court backup guy. But it's like these are different just breeds with Chris Paul and LeBron. But yeah, you said it perfectly. It's just they've answered their biggest offseason rumor, and that was Ayton. And now everything's okay there. Basically the same team. You're hoping for a leap out of Bridges, even more offensively. They like what they have in Cam Johnson. Crowder might be on the way out. Him and Miami reunion has been uh, a rumor for a bit. I've seen this summer. But yeah, D Book's healthy. Um, like I said, they brought in Damian Lee. Not that he's going to do much or even see the floor much, but like he was there in Golden State, brings a little something with his knowledge and the organization he played for and their type of winning. But Cam Johnson's 26. It'd be cool if they can get some leap out of him, and they're going to be up there for sure. They got all the
Yeah.
experience, and Booker's only going to improve too. So can't
Yeah,
go.
and then yeah, then so the Clippers, I just think healthy, they're gonna be better, obviously, because Ty Lue has proven to be a good coach. They also got John Wall, so whatever you get out of John Wall is a plus. Then from
That's
six,
five
what's up?
or five, right?
Yeah, and then I'll go 6 to 10 real quick, and then I'll talk about the why I have them in that order. I have Grizzlies, Pelicans, Timberwolves, Lakers, Trailblazers. That rounds out my playoff / play-in. For Grizzlies, I just think they're the best team outside of the top five. I think the Clippers healthy or better. You also mentioned before we got on this, Jaren Jackson's hurt. New Orleans, I think with McCollum have a shot to be like better than 7, but I got to see it first. Also, Zion's coming back. So, but like I said, it's unknown. They have a shot to be like a top 3 seed or top 4 seed, but that's if everything goes right. So right now, 7's a good spot for them. Timberwolves, everyone loves Rudy Gobert. Not shouldn't say that. Everyone is talking about the Rudy Gobert trade like it's a great deal, and I granted they didn't really give up any valuable pieces in regards to like their core players. Like they gave up some like good depth guys,
Yeah, and overpaid.
but yeah, I just think like New Orleans full strength is better. I think Grizzlies are better, and I think the teams. I think there's just 7 clear teams better than them. 9 the Lakers. I think they'll bounce back. I think you brought up Russ in a contract year. LeBron is still great. To get anything out of Anthony Davis, but I can't see them being higher than 9. And then I think I have the Trailblazers at 10. I think with Dame, he's gonna get you 35 wins on accident, and then even then, Jeremy Grant's a good move. They have some guys they got from the McCollum trade.
I was going to
What?
say before Gary Payton, like that's a good fit.
Yeah, I think they got a couple of defensive minded guys. Chauncey Billups the second year, so you get more comfortable.
That's what they needed too. They never had.
Yeah,
Never.
exactly. And then 11 to 15, Kings, Rockets, Thunder, Spurs, Jazz. The Jazz obviously selling off everyone. The Spurs sold off their best player, so now Keldon Johnson's probably their top guy, I guess. And then they also have like Josh Primo and some draft picks, Devin Vassell. OKC, they're gonna keep drafting, but they're still gonna be in the bottom. I mean, Chet Holmgren hurts, but
Yeah,
still, like
they,
we gotta see progress at some point with them.
there'd be a little more intrigue on the KC end, obviously, if he was there and with how Giddy just was. Me and you. I was going to say this about Zion before when you talked about me and you talked about Zion and Giddy a lot this past season or this past NBA calendar, and
Yeah.
I OKC will be interesting. We'll see how they improve on a maturity standpoint. But yeah, I agree with you there. There's not too much to be excited about without Holmgren.
Yeah, it's just like it's frustrating. We hear about the draft picks all the time. They they've been bad since they traded everyone. Not since they got rid of Russ, which was right. Durant left, Harden left, but that was a long time ago now. Like you've been in the dumps now since you traded Russ, and it's been like 4 years.
Yeah, the Paul George deal, they get like 6 picks, and Shea Gilgeous got like
The Clippers made out in that deal because no, the Thunder made out in that deal. No, what am I talking about? I blanked. I thought that the Clippers sent SGA to
the Thunder in
Thunder.
the deal,
They
and
did. Never mind.
6 picks.
I'm blanking right now. Holy
Now,
crap.
and
Regardless, OKC sucks. Like,
Gallinari was on OKC as well, or was
yeah,
the Clips and got traded to the Thunder.
they had Melo too. They had a weird crop of guys, and then I think Houston's gonna make a little bit of a jump. I think Jalen Green's gonna improve his efficiency, and then they drafted Jabari Smith, I believe. I don't know why I'm blanking on. Yeah, so they got some young guys. I just think they got a little bit more hope than the 3 teams I have below, and then the Kings 11. They just live there. They don't make any type of progress. So that's my West. Do you want to read what?
I was just gonna say I'll give more little optimism towards Sacramento, but go on. You'll see when I say mine.
Yeah, but like, dude, every year with Sacramento, they're probably like I was talking to this with my brother the other day. We were trying to figure out the most least relevant franchise in all of sports. Like hockey, it's tough because it's not as popular as football, basketball, baseball. We thought of like the Texas Rangers. They haven't been good since 2012.
But they had a history though.
Yeah, they have like Adrian Beltre.
Hamilton even.
Yeah, well, that guy was a shame. That
went down real quick.
Well, he had the demons he was fighting.
Yeah.
But Michael Young, like I see what you're saying though with that. So, I think Tyreek Evans is the Sacramento Kings best player, him or DeMarcus Cousins, and that should tell you everything you need to know about the Kings franchise.
I could agree with you and Dan there.
The Texas Rangers, football is tough because every team is magnified because of there's only 17 games, and it's by far the most popular sport. So like even a team like the Lions were on Hard Knocks, so like they're getting their due.
I gotta go. Look at Washington for you.
The Commanders, well, they're too dysfunctional to be irrelevant because they're in the news all the time.
That and like, why do you think so many people were pissed about the name change? Is because they have such a
rich history.
Yeah, they not saying like that they were never successful, but it's like they have a great fan base.
Yeah, like you hear about like Snyder, and I feel like, the name change, like it doesn't really I feel like it doesn't change your history. Like you're still Washington. Like it's kind of like the Cleveland Indians are now the Cleveland Guardians.
Yeah.
So like you adjust fast though. I'm comfortable saying Commanders. Like I understand why they changed names. I get it. Like, offensive terms and all that regards. But as it goes with the what?
Like talking about fan bases and obviously comparing, your team's a good example. Like they've had a recent big time struggle for quite some time and one of the best.
They're relevant though, and they won yesterday. Damn freaking right. Yeah, Cade York and that big ass leg he's got. Damn, that was like good from like 70. Kareem Hunt, he was good. Nick Chubb was great, but we're getting off topic a little bit. So that's my West. Do you want to read your West first, or do you want me to go to my East?
Go to your East.
Okay. This is what I was saying before, because I had the Sixers higher, but you guys got to hear me out. Okay, we're going 1 to 15 again? Okay. I got Milwaukee 1. I think they're good. They're loaded. They're a culture. They're a locomotive. That's pretty funny actually, because Giannis is a locomotive basically. Um,
Player in
I
the
saw what's up.
best player in the world.
I saw a tweet. It was he was doing something in a I think the World Cup or FIBA, I think it is. I don't know the exact tournament they're playing in right now.
Euro Cup, yeah.
Euro Cup, okay. And he played like ridiculous. And someone tweeted, "Oh, imagine this guy learns how to play basketball," because that's like the whole joke. It's like, oh, and this guy gets like more crafty and like
I liked it. It was the step back three. Like,
no, but it's like, can we stop with that? It's like saying Aaron when Aaron Judge stays healthy, he's gonna be great. Like he's been healthy for 3 years now. We get it.
and that was
Um,
me. Like until he won the championship, I had,
yeah, I was like that too with him.
I would say it to you, and I had arguments with my friends. I was like, let's see him get a bag. Let's see him win. I'm not going to say he's better than LeBron James and Kevin Durant yet. And then he did it by himself as a
Yeah,
26-year-old.
he dropped a 50 burger in game what 6 or 7, whatever the last game was.
Elimination game.
Okay, so Milwaukee won. I think that's a fair like 1 seed.
Sure.
We know their team. I got Boston at 2. I know you got heated when I had them at 3, but I changed some things around. I'm trying to explain to you this is the regular season, Rob. Like it's okay if you finish the 4 seed and still win the NBA Finals.
Exactly. I totally understand the reasoning, but I feel like this core is like,
They're young enough where they still kind of care in the regular season.
and there's a cloud over them after, a lot of people didn't think they would be there, especially with how the early season was, but there's a cloud
Yeah,
of Banner 18 over their heads, and now you have a playmaker who could do a lot of things, and you assess your needs. And I'll talk about the Gallinari thing when I talk about Boston in the standings, but go on.
3 is probably the biggest jump. It's not the biggest drop because Utah's the biggest drop, but because of Utah's drop is the biggest jump. The Cleveland Cavs. I was thinking about it before. What?
Great.
Yeah, 3. Yeah,
Continue.
yeah, 3. Yeah. All right. This what they go? Would they finish what the 9? Like they finished the 9th seed because of the play-ins or whatever.
They were in the play, and they lost to Brooklyn, and they were the 8 seed. 8 seed.
Okay.
In the 7.
So speaking on last year's terms, they traded who? Markkanen, Sexton, and Agbaji, I think his name was. I don't know how to pronounce that correctly.
Yeah, he was the draft pick, and Sexton didn't play.
Okay.
Go on.
And picks. Okay. Are any of those guys affecting the starting 5?
No, they are not, and they're not going to miss Laurie, really.
And you just added what they kind of badly needed. Like you're not affecting Darius. This is kind of why I have the Hawks a little low. Is I'm going to explain it, even though I'm kind of going against my grain with my Hawks take. Darius Garland's game is not going to change because Donovan Mitchell's on the team. Evan Mobley's game is not going to change. Jared Allen's game is definitely not going to change.
I mean, this just helps. It's going to change on a positive side.
Yeah, no, meaning it's not going to change, meaning like you didn't, like the Hawks, get a ball-dominant point guard on a team where your best player is a ball-dominant point guard. Darius Garland is known for passing.
You got another shot creator to help Garland.
Yes, exactly.
In the last minutes.
You also keep Levert on your bench, which is probably where he is going to thrive. And you also make Isaac Okoro worry about being a 3-and-D guy rather than scoring 15 to 18 a game when he's not supposed to be that.
And he, not to hold that thought, I love to bring Bill Simmons' funny, dark humor, sort of. But he was
the
2 points, the 2 points you just said.
Okay.
Him and Russillo were like, Ryan Russillo? He's one of my favorite NBA guys. He's always talking to Big Cat, the bald guy, always talking to him. And he's one of my – I'll show you.
Big Cat's bald? No, he's not.
No, I said the bald guy who's always talking to him.
Oh, okay. Ryan, I was going to say, because Big Cat's got a full head of hair.
Yeah, he's always with Bill Simmons, and he's one of my favorite – like, him and Bill are my 2 favorite NBA minds. So they were like, all right, the biggest winner in this deal, Okoro. Like, you just sit there and take threes in the corner and play D.
He
And
doesn't have to do anything special anymore.
yeah, and then to LeVert, like you still have tradable pieces on your bench with K Love and Karras, and everyone loves LeVert. And me and you,
Rubio,
huh?
Rubio's your backup point guard.
Yeah, and
They're deep.
me and you have said this before about Karras. Everyone loves him until he's on your basketball team a little bit. So like
Yeah.
he's in a contract year as well though, so he could be a trade chip. They like Love, so who knows? But
Love's never leaving the Cavs.
yeah.
I don't think he ever leaves the Cavs.
And I said this with one of my friends recently, and as you know, like there was a dark cloud over him. That's like, when is he going to go? Threw the ball out of bounds, unhappy. And then this past year, when they build a culture, he finds his solidified, leadership role. He's happy, 6th man of the year candidate, etc. But go on.
Yeah. Then I don't have a rule with this, but I just feel like the Miami Heat, as long as Eric Spoelstra is their coach, will never be lower than 4 for me, like in my predictions, because they're buttoned up. They're a well-oiled machine. Jimmy Butler's there. Harrell's still there. All of them are still there. And I don't think, like, they're not going to win with this team, like the finals, but they're going to always win 50 games or be in contention for the 1 seed. Like last year, they were the 1 seed. And they just, every night, they bully you. They muddy up the game. They're like the Steelers. I think you said that before. They're like the Steelers of basketball. They're just always there. I think the Celtics are a little different because they have top tier star offensive talent. The Steelers don't really have that right now. Was that like a bold take?
No, that's just me being happy that you said that. But go on.
Okay. And then 5, I have the Sixers. I just think, yeah, that's a good spot for them. They got Harden, they got Maxey, they got Embiid. Danny Green's out, I believe, but I don't think he's on the team anymore.
He got Anthony Melton. That's another acquisition that I forgot.
Yeah, he's a good depth guy. He's good to have on your team.
Cleveland.
Yeah.
You love like me in Boston. You love Cleveland. Like you love the city.
When I'm done with the 15, the Cleveland's the team I'm really going to talk about, because when you talk about play-in teams, who cares where they rank? I'm including the Knicks on that one. 6, I got the Nets. There's too much dysfunction there. Something's going to go wrong again, and they're gonna underachieve. It's just until I see it happen. I'm not even talking about Ben Simmons. Until we see this happen, and there's going to be the looming trade with Kyrie, even though he doesn't want to get traded. Does Kevin Durant want to be there? Does Steve Nash make the season? Like, there's so many ifs with this damn team. I'm not talking about them anymore. Toronto 7, I probably almost put them over the Nets just because I think they're like the Cavs without Mitchell, but Scotty Barnes might be that guy. But he's still like, this is projecting him not to be that guy. So if he is, they might be higher than the Nets, maybe the Sixers. I might be a little low on the Sixers, but for now, Raptors are 7. I didn't like the Bulls offseason at all, moving to 8. They didn't address
you did get Dragic.
Anything.
So like that was like, it was kind of like the Celtic. Oh, he's the Celtic comparison. The last year we had Kemba, when we brought in Jeff Teague for those few months. That's kind of like what
Jeff Teague. That he was on some good Hawks teams. Remember those fake 1 seed Hawk teams, or that one fake seed Hawk team, the one fake 1 seed Hawk team,
and all my other friends on the team, Dennis Schroeder, Al.
Yeah,
it's
Josh Smith was on that team.
It's kind of like you're worried for his knee, so it's like we're gonna bring in a serviceable backup that could be a starter in Goran Dragic, and they still got fight. So with those 2 wings in Levine, or guards in Levine and DeRozan who dominate, we very well may be underrating the shit out of them. But excuse the language, but it's
like they don't have a point guard, and they showed last year when Lonzo went out that they were vulnerable.
Oh man,
because DeRozan's an ISO guy, so his game hasn't changed that much. But you can't ISO every play.
Yeah, and like they're gonna be a little, they're gonna be a threat. They're gonna be fun, but it's like you're missing your quarterback, and I'll address the dynasty trade I made regarding what we're talking about when I do
Yeah.
mine. Look, hold on.
So I for the West I went 6 to 10 and just rattled off, but 9 and 10 I have Knicks and then Hawks, and I'll explain this. The Knicks, in my opinion, last year it was so bleeping obvious that they needed a point guard. Look at their production when Derrick Rose was healthy, than when he wasn't. If I recall correctly, they were like 6-1 to start the year, and Derrick Rose was healthy. I'm not saying he got hurt after the 7th game. I have nothing to go attest to that. But after a while, Kemba Walker isn't going to get it done, or that production is not going to get it done. Remember the Knicks made the playoffs a couple years ago. Elfrid Payton wasn't the guy. Derrick Rose was. Now, I'm not banking on Derrick Rose to be healthy for the whole year, just because he's at that point in his career, and it's happened all the time in his career. I'm trying to think of the word.
It's a flaw.
Yeah, but they got Jalen Brunson, who is a point guard. Finally, I don't care if we overpaid for him. I also think RJ Barrett takes a step. I think Julius Randle is going to bounce back. I don't think he's going to have his 2020 year, but I think his volume is going to go down a little bit, so he'll be more productive.
Yes.
With the Hawks, and I also like the Knicks bench. I like Grimes. I like all those guys. They didn't get Mitchell, which is fine after seeing what they kind of gave up for him, because in terms, Sexton's better than Barrett to some people, not me, but some people. Markin is better than Toppin to some people, maybe not. Maybe right now he is. And then Agbaji is better than whoever the third guy would be, according to people. So in that sense, the Knicks just got beat in their trade. But,
So real quick, I'll talk about what I'm going to talk about with the Knicks when I do my standings. But regarding what me and you have been talking about the past 2 weeks or so when this happened, Danny should have made the Knicks deal. He should have. And
did you see that trade offer they offered in July?
that's what I'm referring to. Yeah.
That was – I don't think I would watch basketball.
And if you're
That was bad.
not
That was
even
a lot.
that, if you're going to get – first of all, no one thinks Sexton is better than Barrett.
I've seen that, though.
Yeah.
When healthy. Okay, get healthy.
That Twitter peeps may think that, but executives around
Fair.
the league, it's just I would do just RJ. Like if I'm Danny and I just had an offer of RJ and 2 or 3, maybe more than 2, but a collection of firsts, you're getting Barrett's going to be better than Mitchell probably in the future, and he's a two-way player, and he's only
music to my ears.
He's only just
he projects really well.
And just like Brown, how we love comparing him to Jalen, the beginning of his career, he has that evolution to him, and he shows it year after year so far, and he wants to be great and works towards it.
Yeah,
and
you see it.
My logic to people saying, why would Danny want the collection of Cleveland first when Cleveland's going to be good, and Sexton in that package instead of the New York packages? If you look back at the Celtic draft record itself, Danny loves gritty, tough point guards, as he was one himself. Like we took Mark, obviously made sense, and my rant about how he deserves the most credit if we won the finals with how he built this team, but took Marcus Smart when we had Rondo, took Terry Rozier when we had Smart and Isaiah Thomas, found a feisty Pritchard late rounds, loved Carson Edwards. Like, he loves his point guard, especially if they're gritty and tough. So it's like, yeah, that's my logic. And, we and you have talked about, does he just not like the Knicks that much from the Celtic ties? And, did he just want to beat him a bit? But it's like, I think he just is overly obsessed with point guards and picks. But, if you're building for the future and you want I would have took the Knicks deal. And not only the package that me and you saw with Top and Barrett, was it Quickly? I think.
Mitchell Robinson.
Mitchell.
Wait, in the July offer or the Knicks final offer?
The July offer, Robinson.
Yeah, Mitchell Robinson.
and Toppin and the first. Not even that. I would have done just, Barrett in the picks because he has a better future than Mitchell in many's eyes. And
Think about the Utah Jazz if they make that trade. You replace Rudy Gobert.
and imagine the stock of RJ Barrett, and yeah, that's true. Oh, yeah, especially that big package.
Especially with the you get the depth from Gobert. Just maybe he's not as good as Gobert, but he's cheaper, so you have more flexibility. But here's the point I'm going to make now: take out talent, whoever you think's better, Sexton or Barrett. I think it's consensus for executives that it's Barrett. What's the difference between RJ Barrett and Colin Sexton? Take basketball out of it. Like basketball ability, skill, talent, whatever, positioning even, take it out of it.
Well, first, it's completely they're vice versa because Barrett has all the, hype and stock and
Take it out of it. All of it out of it. I'm going to tell you right now. Who's making more money this year?
Colin, right? No, Barrett. Or no, he's still
Colin
on
Sexton. No, Colin Sexton just got a $70 million contract. RJ Barrett's got 130.
yeah,
And
but
Danny Ainge has talked about they need to get out of cap hell.
Barrett still has his rookie year or two left. No, that's my thing.
But you won't make that trade if you have to sign him. Because you only have him for 1 year. Now you have Sexton for 4 for cheaper than it would have been to get Barrett for 4.
A throw in the face by the Knicks. Like Utah could have been pissed. It's like, all right, we're talking this guy, and you just extended him. Why would you do that? But it's like
He's Colin Sexton. Like we were talking about it though. Like, where is this guy gonna go?
Yeah, and that's what I was just about to bring up. We talked about how he was getting hated too much from executives, from the media, from front offices, and now that's why it's laughable that Danny was just like, I'd rather Colin than a guy that everyone is obsessed with stock-wise and future-wise and two-way game. We know how much, again, why do you like the stock of Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum? Because they're so young and Barrett has holes. Like Tatum and Brown didn't have much holes, or Brown did, but didn't have holes coming in and don't now. But it's like, that is where the game is trending. Two-way guys with size that shoot, that could do it all. If you're a two-way guy who's a wing, especially with Barrett's work ethic and how he continues to evolve, like I said.
Yeah.
It's not only is it the Knicks hate from Ainge, but he loves tough bulldog type point guards. And that's
he just hates the Knicks.
That's where I think this happened.
Bring up your tough, gritty point guards all you want. He hates the Knicks. Anyway, so my final playing team is the Hawks, and I was telling you before, the reason why I have the Hawks so low is not Trae Young, it's not his fault, not even DeJounte Murray's general fault. We were talking about this before. The Hawks' best player is a ball-dominant point guard. Trae Young is growing. We know he can shoot, but he's growing in the fact that he can shoot, he can pass, he can play make, he can run the floor. We know that. DeJounte Murray makes his money on playmaking, and you can't playmake without the ball. You can, but you can't. You can't set up others unless you're setting back screens, but no shooting guard in 2022 is setting back screens unless you're the Warriors.
He's hardly 6'2".
Yeah, you're you're gonna have people talk about if the Knicks were gonna have a short backcourt. No one's talking about Atlanta.
Brunson's feisty and can defend.
And Barrett's 6'6", so is Fournier. So it's you have length. It's weird because your best player he's not gonna offset the talents of the guy you just brought in. Because by playing Trae Young at the 2, you're limiting his skill set. By playing DeJounte Murray at the 2, you're probably eliminating his skill set because he's not a shooter.
Yes.
You get what I'm saying? And if they're playmaking, who are they setting up? John Collins? He's not a shooter. Bogdanovich is good. I'll give you that.
Herter's gone. Gallinari's gone, even though he didn't play a lot. Hey, this is a big year, and I think I said this to you recently. Forget about them two. this might be the team under the most microscope besides the Minnesota Timberwolves when it comes to, okay, you guys are like
Like
same.
where are you? Are you
Like,
going to be a top four, or are you going back to the bottom?
yeah, and it's like similar, same position wise that you're teaming up with your star guy. I mean, we know Edwards is the man now there, but that you're teaming up with your star guy. That's like, all right, how's this going to look? Are you going to
Yeah.
just share, have fun? But it's like DeAndre Hunter is under a severe, I don't want to say pressure because he's a kid, but like, man, someone
They
who
chose him over Cam Reddish. They chose
not
to keep him over Cam Reddish.
well that and like they were higher on him as it was, and like he was a higher. No, he wasn't a higher pick. I don't think, or I know he was. It was separate anyway. It doesn't matter, but it's the fact that he hasn't answered the call yet. Like he was good in the year with no fans before last season in the beginning, but he also has injury problems. And his stock, like again, two-way guy that is showing he could have a special future in the league. And
But he hasn't projected results well.
yeah, and like he had the one run where he had like 16 a game, and we're like, all right, this kid's might be the second best player. Like this kid's good. Then this is the year when the Hawks beat you guys and made the conference finals. And
Yeah.
DeAndre Hunter wasn't a big factor of that because of his injury, and he didn't come back.
And they also took a step back last year.
When he came back, I remember it was because he was on my fantasy team. I remember it was the Super Bowl, and I was like, man, he's going to be out till spring. I'm dropping him. And the production was gone. So he's all eyes are on him, especially with Gallinari and Reddish and Herter gone.
Mm-hmm.
So now he has to answer the call. And I saw when the Athletic did the one day when we were working in the city, the Athletic did players under the most pressure for each team. Rightfully so, it's him.
Who was it for the Knicks? Was it Julius Randle?
Yes, it was.
No.
Can you guess who it was for Boston?
You could have guessed that.
Can you guess who it was for Boston?
Probably Brown. Marcus Smart. Tatum's chalk because he's always. That's no kidding. He has pressure on him. He's the best player on the team.
They're both the three of them are chalk, but rightfully so. Malcolm Brogdon, because of just like Robert Williams, his durability. You just got to stay healthy.
Yeah,
you're kind of the piece they needed, like I said. So
yeah. To quickly run through what's up.
How awesome is Mike McDaniel?
Oh, I love that guy. Did you hear what Tyreek Hill said about him?
Yeah.
If you guys didn't see, you probably did. But Tyreek Hill said he has to carry a wheelbarrow to carry around his nuts. No, because he's fun. Like the whole thing with Brian Flores got weird and it got kind of miserable. It's kind of a weird vibe. I mean, I don't know what happened with the like the suspensions with Stephen Ross and all that, but Mike McDaniel just seems like he's fun. Like he enjoys it. It doesn't seem like it's a boot camp there. And some you can't run that type of team without credibility. Like Bill Belichick can do that. Mike Tomlin can do that. You've earned that. You've earned that respect. You're a first-year head coach. You've never even been a coordinator yet.
And this
you gotta earn their respect as much as they have. You have to earn it as much as they have to earn yours.
Yeah, and like you just said, like this was their next step. Like that you brought in Tyreek Hill.
Two a time.
And
Patriots suck. I know you're a Boston guy. They suck. I have them winning 4 games.
People were tweeting. They were like, all right, well, like good thing Celtics start 3 weeks.
And the Red Sox are having a tough year. So my 11 to 15 now, I have Charlotte looking in. They had too much going on this year, and they just kind of lacked the talent outside of LaMelo. Gordon Hayward's a little iffy. Terry Rozier is hit or miss when it comes to scoring. So besides LaMelo, I mean, you lost Harrell, but besides that, they don't really have anyone. It feels like, at least.
Bridges, like I said last pod, is he?
Yeah, the whole thing with Bridges. Was he a leading scorer on that team?
19 again. Dude, he might have been because him and LaMelo probably put up the same stats. So that's a good question. They both probably had 19, 20. I know it was 19, 20, but I don't know if it was more than Ball.
I want to look up right now. Charlotte, Bridges averaged 20, and LaMelo averaged 20. Miles Bridges averaged 20.2. LaMelo Ball averaged 20.1. Okay, so he's in technicalities. He's a leading scorer, but it's close.
He's going to be a loss.
Um, and then I have 12 to 15. I have Detroit, Washington, Orlando, Indiana. The last two, Indiana is going through rebuild. They got Halliburton, but that's about it. And then you mentioned like Duarte and some other guys, but they're all super young.
Turner was their player under the most pressure, big year.
But he's going to get traded. He's going to get traded.
I mean, maybe. I mean, yeah, it's always.
He should get traded, in my opinion.
Yeah, and the Westbrook deal made sense for both teams, and like a lot of people were like, "Now Indiana is buying him out if they get him." But
yeah,
again, we'll probably talk about it within the next few minutes. Like we don't expect Westbrook to go anywhere. We don't think any more significant moves are going to happen through the rest of this month up until training camp. But Turner's been under microscope for X amount of years now, and me and you talked last season about how he's disrespected and how he shouldn't be when he's healthy. But yeah, no Sabonis. This is his time. So under the most pressure for sure.
Yep. And then, so I got Charlotte 11. I got Detroit 12. I think they're going to make a little bit more progress with Ivy Cunningham and Sadiq Bey. They're young guys. Washington is kind of in a weird spot. Orlando, we'll see. They have Cole Anthony and Paolo Banchero. And then Indiana. So that rounds out my East and West. We're gonna do playoffs a different day, but now Rob's gonna give his standings. I have no idea what Rob wrote down. He kind of knew a little bit beforehand, but I got no idea what Rob did. I should probably put water in my mouth, and then if I'm gonna laugh, spit it everywhere. But then you guys won't hear the rest of the podcast because my computer will break, so I'm not gonna do that. But all right, Rob, the floor is yours.
I guess another Indiana thing. Like I said to you, Halliburton's going to be a superstar. So that's where my optimism goes. And Duarte will be promising. Mathurin will be nice. You got a collection. You know I'm Team Aaron Nesmith, even though he might not even play. They'll be in the bottom of the Eastern Conference standings for sure. But Halliburton is probably, you know how I always say, like, speaking of Danny Ainge in Boston, and like you could argue Tatum and him stealing him might be Boston's greatest gift ever. This was a more than a Christmas gift for Indiana. Again, Halliburton. But what do you want me to start with, the West?
Yeah, that's what I started with.
All right. Okay, so definitely a lot different than solidly different than yours. Everyone knows who, despite Boston and Golden State, who my title favorite is. The Los Angeles Clippers. They're my 1 seed. If they could stay healthy, it just makes sense.
What were they when they were healthy a couple years ago? 4?
Yeah, they lost in the second round to the Suns, I want to say.
Dallas, I thought it was.
And they proved Tyronn
Lue. No, you're right. In the Western Conference Finals, they lost. They beat Dallas, I think, and then they beat Utah.
Yeah, and then, they finally made it. So,
and then Kawhi sprained his knee, and I was like, they're kind of being iffy about it. This might be a torn ACL. And I'm not a doctor, but I was right.
Chris Paul missed time at that. He was out 8 days with COVID, too.
Yeah.
But, all right, everyone, again, the evolution of the game, wings, they could be a better version. I don't want to say this because we're only getting better, and I think our duo is evolvingly getting better than them, especially one of the guys. But they could be a better Boston. Think about they're or in their tier, of course, especially because they are a title favorite themselves. Like wings, two-way wings, the evolution. Who do they have on the bench? You still got Marcus Morris. You have Luke Kennard. You don't have much of a front court.
Do they have Luke Kennard?
Yeah, he's there. Terrence Mann, Reggie Jackson.
I like Terrence Mann.
They lost Hartenstein to the Knicks, but they brought in Moses Brown likely for a training camp deal, so he might make the team. Again, Marcus Morris, I think Wall will likely start. That's a big boost.
Reggie Jackson's there.
Yeah,
he's been super solid for a couple years now.
Yeah, he'll be the 6th or 7th man. John Wall, who was amazing on the Rockets when he was out there on the floor putting up a game and one of the most cards we've seen.
That was like 3 years ago.
Yeah.
You want to talk about a Kemba situation? That could be. I mean, I was talking about before, like anything you get out of him is positive, but
his
one seed.
His greatness has been there a while. He's proved it to us. Is my point.
Okay, but Reggie Jackson is a formidable second option over Alec Burks. So, okay, go on.
Wait, what do you mean, Alec Burks?
Because I said John Wall's like a Kemba situation. But Reggie Jackson to fall back on is a lot better than falling back on Alec Burks.
Yeah, and it's just they're so complete. And I also factor in not only Lou, and I always hated him during the Celtics and Cleveland rivalry, and when they won the title with Kyrie shot and LeBron, I was like, all right, everyone wants to hate on Steve Kerr and the greatest mind he's always had. Tyronn Lue is a Celtics assistant with Doc Rivers, and I'm still saying I'm not sold on him. But then with this Clippers, first of all, after the bubble, when they choked at the Denver, everyone was like, he's got to go. And then the next year when he proved his togetherness and how he all has them all on the same page with Nick Batum still on the team, how he has that chemistry with them, I was like, okay, he's proved his worth to me now. So because of that, because of Steve Ballmer and his fire to take down the Warriors that not only he, but Daryl Morey now of Philadelphia had when he was in Houston, the Clippers have always been on that level too. And if they want to, finally take them down more than anyone, the Clippers, the Warriors, I'm saying. But so I factor the fire that Ballmer probably has in this as well. So also, Covington, 3-and-D guy they have as well.
Yeah.
So you know how high I am on Norm Powell, and he can score on 3 levels. He'll probably be their starting 2. So you got Wall, him, the 2 wings. 2 do they have at the 4? I'm forgetting. Well, Zubac's going to start.
You still have Powell yet?
Yeah, Powell. Zubac's going to start.
Their 4 then would be.
Drawing a blank here, sorry.
Is it Morris?
He could be. I feel like I'm forgetting someone.
Covington, Batum.
He could start. Batum could start too. Covington or Batum. You could start at the 4.
They're like the same exact player.
You could. It's kind of like Boston. You're super versatile. You mix and match around the wings. The biggest thing that I've seen, and the ball nerd is going to come out of me here, is like that where they could take it to the next level besides their health. Yeah. Is they need to feed off each other, kind of like the Jays figured out how to do with Marcus mixing in. And Wall's going to help that with them because Wall's amazing playmaking. But the Jays started to feed off each other after, that terrible start to the season. That's what George and Leonard need to do because George can be a little stagnant when Kawhi gets it going. So if they could just play make and feed off each other like that, not saying alley-oop dunks and stuff like that 24/7, but in a way, if they could do that, then they'll be golden. But
okay,
first hot take out the way, Clippers will be my 1 seed. Warriors 2, like we said, they lost those few guys, but that doesn't even factor with them. You have one of the best coaches in the league. You have a top 8 player all time. Draymond's health will be better. Clay's health will be better. Wiggins is only improving. Poole is only improving. Again, I like the DiVincenzo acquisition. All my close friends that are going to listen to this, he's just saying that because he got him in Dynasty. No, the reason I wanted to get him in Dynasty is because I like the fit. He's never going to play for me, and he won't play the most significant of minutes in Golden State likely, but like Wiggins, he's not at Wiggins' talent, especially two-way wise. But it's like, if it's going to work anywhere for you, it's here. Like, you
Yeah.
haven't had the start to your career that people expected, but you fit in. So I like them at the 2 seed. Looney, they re-signed. They're high on him now. What's his name? Wiseman's back. Dallas is my third.
Okay.
Like you, Brunson is a big loss, but they're high on Dinwiddie. A year plus removed from his surgery now. He proved when he got to Dallas is a perfect home for him. Now he takes on the task of being the secondary ball handler and filling in that Brunson role. And people have seen him do it, the Kenny Atkinson Nets team with Karis LeVert and them. So he's done this before. So he could do it. And like we said, they bulked up. They got Wood, who's a good fit, should be a better fit than KP,
Yeah.
JaVale McGee. They have shooters around Dallas, and this is a good team to maximize Luka's potential, which they keep doing more and more year after year, to see that next LeBron that we're expecting. So I think Dinwiddie will be good. I think Tim Hardaway will bounce back. I think they still have Bullock, Finney Smith, Kleber, like we said. Fourth, I have Denver. They're at my cleanup spot, like we said. The 3-and-D at Caldwell Pope. JaMychal Green is on the Warriors now as well. He's gone, but you have Aaron Gordon, the MVP. You are getting Murray and Porter back, like I said, great coach. They're all in. Not only did Jokic prove his greatness through these 2 MVP seasons, but he proved you get him some talent. This team's going to be around for a while and will be one of the best teams in the league. All summer, me and you were saying that they're our top sleeper, one of our top sleepers, and we're going to continue to ride that. So they're my 4 seed. They're going to be great. Sorry, Phoenix, you're 5. I'll put Denver over you. Chris Paul, like you said, could be restricted a tiny bit more. Crowder could be on his way out. Cam Johnson's 2-way game is only going to improve at 26. They're going to give him more opportunity. Russell Wilson is, what is he, like 5'10"? He's like so short.
Yeah.
He's
Yeah.
like 5'10", right? I got Jalen and Jacoby on. I'm like, dude, I forgot how short he was. They're showing him.
Yeah. He's not that tall.
Yeah, I've seen, forgot because it's been a few. But anyways, yeah, it's Phoenix, Cam Johnson, Bridges will improve. You figured out the deal with Ayton. You brought him back. You got to just keep up that chemistry and that continuity with Monty Williams. Prove,
Yeah.
It's like maybe you should have made the Durant deal, but you're not giving up Devin Booker. And this is the, Paul got to keep proving his greatness. Booker will improve. It's just now you got to show that you are a team that's capable of making the Final Four for the rest of Chris Paul's remainder of his career. So, they'll be a contender. They won't be someone to mess with, of course, but, a lot of people, like I said before, recency bias in the league. They're tired of them, especially how people usually are with takes, and they'll take any new contenders over them, just like Dallas or Denver. Like I said, I'm one of those people, so prove us wrong, Suns. Memphis, like Rick said, Jaren Jackson is out. They are my 6th seed, and they are proved, especially without Morant this year, that they could hold it up when they have a significant injury. So this should be the least of people's worries. They have Steven Adams still. They have one of the best backcourts in the league with Morant and Bane, that is.
There you go.
Who else do they have? Kyle Anderson isn't there anymore. He's on Minnesota.
You bring up Steven Adams?
Yeah, because I know he's there at the 5. Melton's gone. You lost a few pieces. You still have Dylan Brooks coming back, who was hurt a lot of last year. Obviously, they have one of the best coaches in the league in Jenkins and the culture they have. So regardless, they're going to be one of everyone's top seeds. I feel like I'm missing a big player from them, though.
So you got Jaren Jackson, Dylan Brooks, Adams.
Yeah.
Yeah, it feels like a team that good is missing someone. Desmond Bain, you
Brandon,
brought him up.
yeah, Brandon Clark as well.
Yeah, so you got most of the guys. I mean,
Look at Danny Green, even though he had the torn ACL and he's likely never going to play. Tyus Jones came back. So
yeah,
your culture, you lost some pieces, but your culture's still there. Like, just like Phoenix, there's going to be better teams, but you're only on the, I mean, Phoenix's windows now, but Memphis is only on the rise. So I'll put them at 6. I'll put New Orleans right under them at 7. You know,
okay. So we're 6-7. It sounds like it's gonna be really similar.
yeah,
6.
we had a couple of similar teams. So 7 was Memphis, or I'm sorry, 7 was New Orleans, 6 was Memphis.
Okay.
We're at 7 right now. Me and you have talked about Zion and his potential and what we saw that year from him, and rightfully so. He got all this money. Clearly has the potential to be one of the most dominant players really to ever play, or front court guys in the league for sure. Like, his force, he shot over 60% in the paint. Yeah, you can improve on the 3 ball, but he has a stroke, which he showed when he first started playing NBA games. He had his first game, he had like that quarter, second half where he had 4 threes. I think it was the fourth quarter. That was amazing. But one of the most explosive players ever. You can't stop him. It's kind of like the Scotty Barnes factor, but like 10 times better with like how big and strong he is and like how no one can stop the force and train of him. It's like Giannis, but like I want to say even more scary. So he has the ability to put up 26, 27, and he is the Batman of them. Ingram, that's why they were my favorite team for a Durant trade, because Ingram's amazing, but like you put him in, when you put Zion with Durant, my goodness.
And McCollum.
Yeah. So Ingram, he only improves. You know, will be a perennial all-star. McCollum proved he's the right vet they needed. Willie Green's an amazing coach. He will be one of my candidates for Coach of the Year again. McCollum has the ability to play make as well with those two, with not just Ingram. Valanciunas eats boards, eats stats. Devontae Graham will be on the bench. This will be a big, we saw what you could do in Charlotte. Let's see if he can bounce back type of year. Alvarado will continue to improve. But they're going to, just with that big 3 alone and their coaching, and the job David Griffin has done, like they deserve this. And a lot of people were saying they should be within the top 6 once they got McCollum and knowing Zion will be back. But I'm one of those people that are really high on them. So they're my 7 seed. Above the Minnesota Timberwolves, I have an 8. You might think that's a little crazy, but I've been saying it since the trade. This Gobert trade set the tone for the market this summer. Why? Because no one thought they could get 5 first-round picks for Rudy Gobert and then interfere with the Durant sweepstakes. Not, as I've said to you a million times, not only were teams not willing to throw their, rosters or franchises or like whole court away for Kevin Durant, seeing what he's done the past couple years, knowing he's getting older. But what was it? People, it set the tone, not just in that, what I just said, but it's like no one was looking to give up 6 or 7 first rounders and beyond that for Kevin Durant. So Danny Ainge, my guy, set the tone this whole summer. And for the Durant sweepstakes, and then what we saw with Mitchell, knowing it would take X amount of picks and knowing it was the Jazz and Ainge's philosophy, but a lot of eyes are going to be on Minnesota, not just how Towns and Gobert can fit in the front court, because I think that'll be fine. And I do think Edwards will be the one. But something analysts were saying was like he needs to play in that big game. Like he needs some playoff experience. Maybe not.
But this is regular season standings. So
No, I'm saying like Edwards to be that one and to elevate
yeah,
that. Not just talking about this regular season, but it's like maybe he is the next Michael Jordan or Kobe, and he doesn't need this playoff experience. But it takes steps, like we see with these young teams. You need experience before you could say, okay, Edwards is my top 15 guy, and 10 beyond that, um, because of how dominant and amazing he is. You need playoff experience, and he's your one seed. So it's like you have these three guys, and we talked about this in the summer when they made this trade. I remember when I posted it, and you told me how your brother was like, D'Lo is still loading, and he's the
yeah,
fourth.
he's not a fan of him.
Yeah, like he's the fourth guy, but it's like, all right, what do you have outside of that? Like you
Yeah,
have all these guys, these 3 to 4, and you have a good culture now, but it's like I don't see the point in like let's throw the house for Gobert just because like it brings in revenue and we're gonna be better. You got nothing outside of that now. So have fun matching up with the other teams in the conference unless the Twin Towers are going to take you to the promised land. And again, like I said, Edwards will be slowly an all-time great. And he very well may be an all-star this season. But it's like when it comes to you and Towns and Gobert, you remember they were like it's championship or bust. Like, dude.
you're buying tickets.
It's like, dude, okay, well, your best player is a baby. Let's take this slow. And yeah, so like I said, the whole microscope is going to be on them in Atlanta.
Yeah,
Good for them, though. I'm happy they brought in Gobert, brought in, the intention that they needed. My 9 seed will be the Lakers. Like we said, nothing much to be excited about, despite LeBron and how he looks amazing in these summer workouts. How he looks like he's just getting better as he gets older. He'll be 38 in December. He's leading my dynasty team with Jason Tatum, so I'm on the bandwagon of hopefully he pulls a Tom Brady and hopefully he waits for both his kids. But he is the main bright spot of the Lakers. He could put up 28. He's going to continuously for the rest of his time put up 29 to 30 points a game. I'm not saying he has the ability to what he did with Cleveland in 18 or any other point in his career where he took a team to his championship, or we don't even know if he can make it a contender at this point. But he will still get his and be a top 6 talent, maybe 5 in the league. Of course, contract year for Westbrook, like LeBron said, which is a biggest reason why I don't think they're moving him as much as everyone thinks before training camp starts, is because, LeBron tweeted that, I can't wait till he bounces back and has an amazing season for them this year with the whisper emojis. And everyone, when I tweeted that, was like, dude, like he could just be sticking up for him. No, I think that means something. And they're going to keep him next to Pat Bev. New changing culture, fire each other up. And everyone knows how I'm a big Westbrook guy, so I hope he does have a killer contract year and does bounce back. You're relying on Anthony Davis's health, relying a lot on the big three, like I said about Minnesota, even though this is much more significant than them. Pat Bev will be a good spark for them, whether he continues to throughout the year start next to him or come off the bench. You lost Monk, who is one of your main bright spots, but you have Lonnie Walker. You brought in Thomas Bryant. So some renewed optimism. They got Juan Toscano. He'll never play. Troy Brown. He'll never play. Or at least not significantly, because they do need defense. So that's why they brought them in, besides Lonnie Walker. But they're better than last year, especially now that Russ knows and he's expected to be better. So they could be easily better than 9. Like, me and Rich, as well as the rest of the media and as well as the rest of the NBA people, are going to put their ceiling in the play-in or the bottom of the playoff picture. So this is rightfully so for them. But I do think they will be better and silence the haters. 10 is Portland. Lost McCollum. Lillard's first time playing without him. Me and Rich said before we started recording and before that we can't wait to see him have these spiritual performances, put up 60s, 50s average 30 a game, if not close to it, especially without CJ. You got Gary Payton the second. Their biggest need for the past few years now has been defense at any position. Nurkic is defenseless. They wrote a lot on Ennis Freedom. He was defenseless. So you bring in Jeremy Grant, a guy you've always loved, a good two-way game, who will be more comfortable there. I always said I don't know why he even signed in Detroit, as they continued to limit his knee at the end of his first year. But you got him. You got Ben McLemore, still a free agent, but he has the ability to shoot the lights out of it. You have Trendon Watford. You got some good young pieces. Chauncey Billups is getting better, like we said. But like you said, Lillard on your team, and now you give him at least some help. And Jeremy Grant, who's a two-way guy, that's at least 35 wins that Dayton can get you himself, maybe 40. So they're my 10. Sacramento, 11. A little more optimism just because they're more comfortable. Sabonis, super high on him. We don't know why they gave him Halliburton. Fox started to play better without Halliburton. Now you bring in Malik Monk, who was his Kentucky teammate, in the backcourt. So they'll be improved. You got Barnes. They're the Kings. Like me and you said, they might be the worst organization in all sports. But they got Kevin Huerter. I feel like they got someone else. But there's just more optimism, Like, they should just improve. And, what everyone's going to look back on is this Halliburton move and Sabonis. So we wish them the best at 11. 12, the Thunder. You said you think Houston could be better and be potentially in the play and better than the Thunder. I'll go 12 through 15 right here. I got OKC, Houston, Utah, and the Spurs last. So OKC, again, sucks. They missed Holmgren. I do think they would have seen a bit of a more leap in maturity and maybe more of a better strategy to win games with how great Josh Giddey's going to be and how amazing he probably will be in year two. You still have Pokashevsky. You have Shai Gilgeous. Imagine that backcourt for the future, him and Giddey. You got the two Williams brothers in the draft. Who else? Some playmakers, Teo Maladone, Trey Mann. We talked before about Morey being potentially, Daryl Morey being maybe the best executive in the league or one of the top ones. I think Sam Presti is with all the picks he got for OKC. And I think with Holmgren, they're going to be fun to watch. So I'll say they're better than Houston, though. Houston's right below them at 13. Like you said, Jalen Green's improvement, Jabari Smith. Wood's gone, but you have more room for the growth of the youth. Şengün will be their main front court guy. What's his name? Kevin Porter, if he could stay out of trouble, will continue to grow and be better. Dennis Schroeder's gone. He was a free agent, yet to be signed. It's really just Jalen Green showed how great he could be at the end of the year. So if that backcourt can continue to be amazing, and you have Kevin Martin Jr. off the bench to relieve Jabari Smith a little bit, they could be the worst team in the West, maybe. But they're gonna continue to just grow with that core, at least the backcourt and Jabari. Utah, we saw what Ainge just did, rip them apart. Colin Sexton's about to have an amazing year. Horton Tucker, we'll see what he can do away from the Lakers. That could also very well be the worst team. Very well. Great job done by Ainge this summer. Spurs last. Like I said to you before we started recording, that guy with the long last name that starts with a W, they're going for. They have no one really special.
Wembanyama, I think his name. Victor Wembanyama?
Yeah.
Or Wembanyama? I don't know how to say his name.
You got picks, and now you got Keldon Johnson. So, and Romeo Langford, my guy.
Yeah.
We'll go fast through the East. Boston, I like your opinion of Milwaukee could be better, getting Middleton back, being more hungry. Giannis could perform like an MVP. Very well may win MVP. but I'll go with the Celtics first just because they're hungry. And like I said, there's that dark banner 18 cloud. Gallinari, I'm not going to say you're going to miss him. I did just see someone tweet like 2 hours ago.
Make it mellow.
Yeah, like someone tweeted 2 hours ago. They were like, his value could be overestimated because, like I said to you, he was going to be the 9th or 10th man because he is defenseless and I've said it to you on pods before this, and can just his specialties. You know what you're getting out of him. He comes in, he'll give you a quick 8, shoots at a high volume, has size, can score at many levels. So it's like he was going to play about 18 minutes a game, not more than Grant Williams, because you know how they're high on him and his defense and his Draymond Green-esque play and how important he was through the playoff run. So he was only going to play about 18 regardless. Like there was going to be times in the playoffs, especially when he wasn't going to play games. But it's like my thing as a fan, everyone's like, of course. But my thing as a fan is like, I don't want to get there and it be like, oh man, they got that one wing to relieve them on the bench, for 40 minutes for both the Jays. If only they had him to help out and score some points, they would have, won 2 more games in the finals. So I don't want to have that feeling. And you mentioned the Melo thing. I didn't want him with Gallinari because they do the same thing. And Melo doesn't even shoot as high as a clip as him anymore, I don't think. And Melo doesn't have as much size. So one of them would have had to sit. So now that he's gone, or at least until the spring at least, I would take Melo, but I'm saying that he's not a priority. So they like Sam Hauser, that guy, number 30, who shoots from he played for Virginia, and then we brought him up from Maine, but he never played much time. As you saw, if you remember who he is, he's the blonde guy that kind of looks like Hayward's son. But they like his floor spacing. He plays kind of just like Gallo, and he doesn't even have to play much. So that's why Melo's not a top priority. And it's not like he ever played for you. Yeah, this is a completely fun roster, and he's an amazing guy to have around. Perfect guy. As OG-wise for the Jays, because, again, you know what you're getting from him. Melo would be even more, because Melo helps out more. Tatum's idol growing up. Still great friends with them now. Can help their back-to-basket game and improve on anything left that they need to. Really, you know how great Melo is posting up, so that he definitely would have taught them that a lot. But I'm just completely grateful that this isn't Malcolm Brogdon, because if that was, knowing how his health is, you wouldn't have improved at all this offseason, despite experience. So let's be grateful you really filled your need in a top-notch scorer, second unit or first. Top-notch, you know what I mean, amongst point guards, can give you 19, 20 on a good night and when he's healthy. And someone who could slow down tempo, make things easier for the Jays and Marcus, who could play make at a high level, calm things down. And that's what they brought in. And they needed that and a wing. That's what they assessed. So hope speedy recovery for Gallo. This should be a fun regular season regardless. I think if they didn't acquire Brogdon, I would say for sure 2-3 seed for the Celtics. But I'll say with how hungry they are now and the Malcolm acquisition along with everyone else's experience and comfortability, I'll go Celtics 1. I think this will be a very fun year, and rightfully so. I'm super excited. Bucks 2. Sixers 3. Like I said to you before, I think they had the best offseason in the NBA. I saw it was them, the Hawks, which, again, we'll see if it really is, and the Celtics. People ranked the best off seasons. The Athletic did. Sixers, you tried your best to maximize, again, Daryl Morey for his boy and the relationship that we've never really seen with player GM have. He gave him the less money. He was like, listen, let's maximize your comfort. Let's get you a potential ring that you want. Let's get to winning. We'll bring in all your friends. You get back to full comfort and health, and then your payday will come from us in a year or two. So you maximize his comfort, bringing in his friends. You bring in PJ Tucker, who you should have overpaid because he's a great fit with not only Harden, but what you have going with Embiid. You bring in Daniel House, who's caught complete fire around Harden before. Subtract Danny Green, which you're not even really going to miss if we're being honest. Prayers go out to him and a speedy recovery. Good player for Memphis. You bring in DeAnthony Melton, who can catch heat off the bench. And the other day, they bring in Montrezl Harrell, who me and you weren't sure what was going to happen with him, if there'd be any takers, but who else but Daryl Morey and James Harden, who we used to play for again, and he played for Sam Cassell and Doc Rivers in Los Angeles. So Eddie's a perfect backup behind Embiid, and that was the last hole you needed to fill, was a backup center that was not Paul Reed. And Harrell is a good one. He might be a liability on D, but he could play inside, could body up against people, and block shots. So I think Philly will be rejuvenated, especially if Harden comes out hungry and more healthy. And like we see, he's skinnier and back to in shape. So they're going to be scary. I'll put them at 3. The Nets 4. We could talk hours about this team. I just think they're on the same level now. I think now they're all on the same page, which last pod, me and you talked about it, and I did. Kyrie Irving looked to be the more sane one than Kevin Durant. And when that happens, that's saying something to me. Especially when the rumor was that KD wasn't happy with Kyrie and like the way management treated him. But obviously, most of all, he wasn't happy with how they were running things, from coaching, which he said to Joe Tsai, and the GM, which we were unsure about because Sean Marks, me and you said last pod, he did what he could. He brought you Ben Simmons when Harden wasn't happy. But you made moves overall that were like, okay, we believe we're trying to win a championship even after this controversy, and like your foot was on the gas. Ben Simmons looks great. He is looks like he has that fire in his eyes, ready to go. Kyrie, if he could just stay on the court, both of them, if they could stay on the court, if Kyrie could do his job, they could very well be one of the best teams in the NBA, of course, and they could make a finals. So if those 3 can just stay committed, and we know Durant is, and we know he loves the game too much, if the rumors continued of him maybe holding out, and they would have been heating up big time around this time of year if he never had that meeting with the Nets and said, we're staying put, everything's all good. We would have heard a lot right now all over TV. That would have been basketball's biggest news. Is he staying? Is he not? Or is he holding out? Is he not? But I never thought that was happening because everyone knows he loves the game more than anyone. But you brought in Warren, you brought in Royce O'Neal, you brought in Markieff Morris, you lost Bruce Brown, you lost Blake Griffin. But you rejuvenated, I don't know why Steve Nash is still there, but you rejuvenated the second unit that you needed to do. You have a healthy starting 5. You have a better culture. Everyone's on the same page is what it looks like right now. They're ready to go. They're ready to get down to business. Kyrie, please stay true to this. I know you've been since July-ish. Season's coming. Just do your job. I love to watch you play. Obviously there's Celtic bias decisions in there. I love to watch you play more than anyone in the league when it comes to highlight-wise. And a lot of people could say that too. It's a thrill, and you just want to grab your popcorn and shout. So, please stay on the court. I obviously, from a Celtic fan point, don't like the Nets, but let's see it. Everyone's been waiting for it, the entire basketball world and sports world. So those 3 just stay committed, led by Kyrie. Cavs are 5th for me. I like what they did. Not as optimistic as you are just because you need a little more experience, but all that matters is you got someone to put the ball in their hands besides Garland now at the end of games, and you have offense and defense. You have two-way guys. Like we said, there's still Okoro. There's still those 2 bench pieces. There's still Rubio. There's still Dean Wade. There's still guys that can catch fire. And yeah, Mitchell's going to embrace it like we said he would have in New York. I'm sorry. I have to say that. But it's now you can put the ball in his hands and he can create shots, and him and Garland can grow together. And you could have a potential 3 to 4 All-Stars for the coming future. And it's forget about Garland and Mitchell. Evan Mobley is going to be the next great big, like Duncan or Garnett. Like, it's going to be amazing. And I'm
Be careful with that.
I'm going to take it that level. He's a 7-footer that shows Durant like type skill level in runs. I know, like, we're not going to see him handle the ball in a real game, but like he can do that. Like, he's that amazing. And that brings another point. Like, why would Danny want to do this trade when they have Evan Mobley and those guys, when you could have done the Knicks one and got better assets in the Knicks? You never know what could happen there. But I'll say Mobley is the highest piece for them, but they still need some experience. That's why I'm not going to mix them in with the other contenders. So they're my 5th. This is where I will overrate them. They're higher than Miami. Miami's 6 for me. Me and you, like we said, they're like the Steelers. They're like the Celtics. They're like the Yankees. They're always hanging around. Eric Spoelstra's the best coach in the NBA. You got Jimmy Butler, hero in a contract year. Hopefully Duncan can get his rhythm back, get his game back, get his confidence back. You lost Tucker. That's a loss. But you got your system guys who are growing, and Strus, who was good against the Celtics and the Sixers the last 2 rounds for them. Gabe Vincent. You don't really have the greatest of backup bigs and Deadmon still, but you still have Yurtseven, who's shown potential when he plays. And Cody Martin can provide some sort of a spark plug, a lot lesser than Tucker did. And Lowry, we'll see how he comes back in shape. But Adebayo could have been more aggressive against Boston. But they're always around it come May and April, but I'll put Cleveland over them. That's my hot take for the East. At 7, I have Atlanta. And I was saying to you before, this is the one secret I gave away in my standings. I didn't know whether to put at 7 Atlanta or Toronto, because I love Toronto's culture. I always put Nick Nurse as my coach of the year every year. I am going into this year. Siakam proved everyone wrong last year. Gary Trent's going to be 23 only, 18-point per game scorer. Fred VanVleet proved he could be a perennial all-star. You could use more help in the front court, but you re-sign Boucher. You have Kem Birch off the bench. You brought in Otto Porter, who now has championship experience, and he's a good fit for their bench. But Scott Barnes, man, like I said to you, rightfully so, they didn't want to include him in a potential Durant blockbuster. Why? Because he's a train. He's only 21, and he is going to be, just like I said about Mobley, an all-time great. And he has – not only is he a train like Zion, I said, and like Giannis, but, dude, he developed as the season went on Kobe type of moves and fadeaways and a bit of a jumper, shooting off the dribble, like a bag per se. And he is so dominant and will continue to be. So you could flip-flop Atlanta and Toronto. Atlanta, like we said before, most microscope with those guards, big eyes on them. Can Trey play off the ball? Can DeJounte maybe play off the ball if they want to have fun? Can Clint stay healthy? Can John Collins be happy? But the biggest question of, like I said to you, can DeAndre Hunter stay on the court and improve and continue to show growth with his two-way game? You lost Herter, Gallo when he played, and Reddish is gone. All the opportunity is there for Hunter. So big microscope for Atlanta. At 9, Chicago. Like we said, they lost Lonzo. This could be a career-threatening type of injury just because, he was on my dynasty team. Speaking of the trade, I actually traded him for everyone hates on it that I'm close with, but I don't care. Easily, Brunson will be a higher option with New York. He'll be the main ball handler. Like you said, they finally got a point guard. He'll make all things go. His dad's there. Tibbs is there. They both trained him since he was a young kid, so this is a dream come true for him. He's from New Brunswick. His playmaking is only going to improve. He shot 50% from the field. He was a 20-point scorer with and without Doncic in the playoffs last year. So he's only a year older than Lonzo, too. He just turned 26. So he is only going to go like this while Lonzo could just stay there with his liability, which is only injuries. I'm not knocking Ball, but it's like, and I'm not comparing him to Kemba Walker, but this dude got surgery on that meniscus injury in January, hasn't played since, was supposed to be out 4 to 6. I kept seeing in the spring, Bulls fear this is serious. He keeps feeling something when he's ramping up. Then I was seeing it during the finals in early summer of how afraid they were. And I was like, all right, well, this is going to go into camp. And it's exactly what it did, and it's saying he's doubtful for the beginning of the year. This could be career-threatening with him having the surgery and always having a knee knick-knack or ankle. So that could be trouble for Chicago. Like I said to you, they brought in Dragic, and their 2 wings will make all things go for them. But Lonzo made them a great team. They had a losing record with him being out the whole second half of the season. So that's a big loss. Yeah, you got Vucevic, and you got a evolving Patty Williams, and you got Kobe White in the backcourt as well. But it's like Lonzo is your quarterback, and you need him. 40% from the field, defends multiple positions, gets steals. 40% from 3, actually. I'm sorry. But they are 9 right in front of your New York Knicks, who I have at 10. That could flip-flop as well, depending on how bad this goes for Chicago. The Knicks finally got a playmaker. Hopefully this is a bounce-back year for Fournier. Like you said, it'll never be worth the salary, but it'll be more comfortable now in the Big Apple, especially with this Euro Cup play from him and him getting his reps in. You have Rose coming back. You have Quickly. You have Toppin. A lot of bright spots. Brunson will probably make life a lot easier for the team, so they could surprise in a lot of games. But also, like, no offense, it is the Knicks. You never know. Like, they could lose in games that they should easily win, like, at the end of them. But you have 2 main bright spots as of right now in R.J. Barrett and Jalen Brunson, who just proved he could be a future star again in the playoffs with and without Doncic, where his numbers were better without Doncic as he had 40-point games and filled the sheet against Utah. But, again, 27 a game against Utah, that series too. But Randall should bounce back, and his life will be easier with them adding that point guard. And now he understands the assignment after how much scrutiny he just went through. So, again, Tibbs should be better. Like, hopefully Reddish does something. They don't have Alec Burks anymore, like you said. They don't have Tosh Gibson anymore. But it's like you have Grimes. You have Miles McBride. Hopefully Reddish plays. Like I said, I'm high on him too. They could flip-flop around the play-in, like best case scenario. I have them above Charlotte. Charlotte's 11.
Yes, I think your bottom 5 are the same as mine.
Yeah. So 11, 10 through 15, Knicks, Charlotte, Washington, Indy, Detroit, or no.
So I just had Detroit. Yeah, I went Charlotte, Detroit, Washington, Orlando, Indy.
Yeah, Indy was – yeah, I felt like that was the one thing we really disagreed on. But, yeah, so anyways, for the Knicks, I'll be ready to laugh at people when Brunson starts the year averaging 20 plus, if not close to it, under the bright lights on national television. Me and you, 2 biggest fans of them now. But Charlotte, they're just not ready. I mean, Bridges, like I said to you, that could be a loss. Hayward's health is too unreliable. You didn't add a big. Besides, I felt like, did they draft? Yeah, they didn't, right?
Even if they did, they didn't have a high enough pick where he's going to make that much of an impact.
Yeah, like you still like you didn't assess the need. Like you brought in Steve Clifford, who's a good coach. Borrego they liked, so that was questionable. I'm not trying to question Jordan's moves because he's been nice, but it's like you have LaMelo, who when the beginning of the offseason started, they were open to moving the entire house for all of them. And or moving, all of them to just rebuild around him and give a better look, like Oubre and them too. And like you said, now Harrell's gone. But it's like you have LaMelo, Rozier, Hayward, who you're asking a lot out of. It's just they're just not ready. Like I love the talent on the team, and yeah, you did improve coaching wise, and that is an electric backcourt. And everyone knows Celtic bias or not how high I am on Rozier and his ability to score and put up 20. But it's like you're just not ready. Like there's a lot better teams, and like even the Knicks have more playoff experience. Washington, like you said, weird roster, but you got Beal, you got Kuzma. That's all you need, building block wise. You got Porzingis, Johnny Davis, Monte Morris is there, Will Barton's there. They could surprise a little bit, be a little fun, but they're not going to be anything more than the bottom of the pack. And I do think Beal will be very amazing this year. And Kuzma is only going to go up. He's special on not just the three-point shooting and rebounding, but his defense is starting to look like the way it did his first year. And he's special. Indiana, I'm so much more optimistic than you are just because of Halliburton. I think, like, he is incredible and, like, only just going to continue to grow. Like, he has the chance to be a superstar going into year 3. Me and you argued who's better, him or Fox last year, and I still said him, even though the numbers showed Fox. His feel for the game is like something I've never, besides like Tatum and how close I've studied him, something I've never seen out of like a young point guard, his feel and his confidence. Yeah, he's got a weird jumper, but he can still spray. And his passing ability is second to none. You got Benedict Mathurin, Chris Duarte, and Miles Turner, who you're asking a lot out of, like I said. And Detroit, Cade Cunningham, Marvin Bagley. Like we said, you'll see some progress there, not much. But I have Orlando in last. And, that could flip-flop right there if it matters, just because you got Banchero, you got Cole Anthony, you got Franz Wagner. And you got Wendell Carter. Yeah, I might put Detroit last and put Orlando 14th. But yeah, if Orlando could win some games, like you have to do so. But, Detroit has Cunningham. But as long as it was, and as long as I love to explain my basketball, that is my standings. I'm double checking to see. I feel like I'm forgetting someone on Indiana. O'Shea Brissett and Buddy Hield. 2 guys we forgot. Daniel Tice.
Yeah, but they don't move the needle. Is that your 15 then?
Yeah.
All right. The standings went a little longer than I expected, so we're gonna do that for the day. Next week we'll probably have more of a variety of things because the standings, it is 15 teams, it is 30 teams, so it's gonna take a little bit. But
you're talking to me too, and everyone knows I don't shut up.
That's the point of a podcast. But yeah, that's good for the week, I think. And then next week, what's up?
I want to just talk about Dallas and
the Cowboys. Yeah, I mean it's pretty plain and simple. I mean, Dak's out 8 weeks. I mean, they didn't look good with him, but I mean, it is week 1 with a kind of new team, so it's not really,
like weapon wise, because now like it's all Lamb.
Yeah, but even then, that's not even what I was gonna go with. That I was gonna say it was like you're eventually gonna get Gallup back. You're eventually gonna get James Washington back, who is a 3 at probably at best a 3, so he's not the greatest. Pollard and Zeke are still there. Schultz is there, so you have guys. But the problem is, right now you don't, and now you don't have a quarterback. So it's gonna get ugly in Dallas, and I'm not one that bashes the Cowboys. Like they were good last year, and like you lost Amari Cooper, you lost this guy. Like when you lose talent and you don't replace it, this is what's gonna happen. So I
Yeah.
had them winning the division before Dak got hurt because I think Dak was gonna stabilize it enough. I think yesterday he just didn't look good.
I mean,
And
realistically, there's no other competition or coming into the year we thought besides Philly with AJ Brown, but like
yeah, the Eagles were the only like really and I'm not gonna overreact over the Giants winning or the Washington. They might be improved. The Giants might win 8-9 games. They might be improved. They might be better than we think. Same with Washington, but I just think at the point where it mattered, Dallas would be at full strength, and then you have Lamb and Gallup, who is a really good top two guys. But now you have Cooper Rush with a depleted roster as is. So you were counting on Dak to make up for that kind of stuff, and now you can't expect a backup quarterback to
Col-
play over his level.
yeah, like Collinsworth kept saying it too. He's like, yeah, like even in the beginning of the game, he's like, he's all like he's the main weapon, and he's all they got right now. Like they need it all to have
Yeah,
him.
and they didn't. Then they ran the ball well, and they just didn't
He was
continue
good
with it.
until the end. I thought
Zeke
Zeke did
only
well.
he only had 9 carries, and but like I'm looking here, they lost 19-3. Obviously,
Like
they scored in the first possession. They
the
scored three on the
beginning,
first.
he kept getting the first. I was like, he actually looks kind of good.
They if you take out Dak's runs, no, Dak's runs, they went 16 for 60. Zeke went 10 for 52. Tony Pollard went 6 for 8. I think two of them were just two blown up like screenplays or whatever, or like reverses. So if you had Zeke in the game, you ran he had 5 yards of carry, and every time he didn't have like a big run, like a long run, but he he moved the change for you. He kept you ahead of schedule. So what was the point of trying to force the ball downfield on first down when it is working every time? Leonard Fournette had over 100 yards last night because of that. Tom Brady recognized that. I obviously, Byron Leftwich, the not Browns, Bucks OC, and they like I didn't think the Bucks offense played that well. Like
It,
I
but like
they look kind of rusty and kind of sloppy. Like they,
it was, yeah, and Tom did, and I thought like,
well, I'm not worried about Tom Brady.
yeah, of course, but at halftime I was like, he's better LeBron the second half. We've seen this before, but then he didn't, and like you saw him cursing and shit, and like he even looked frustrated, and
Yeah.
it was really just Julio and Fournette really carried it a little bit,
Well,
and
Evans scored.
yeah, yeah, of course, that was like a no doubt
Godwin got hurt.
match too. Like Evans was kind of quiet until that touchdown, and that was like an Odell type of catch. And I tweeted, you talked about my tweet before. I tweeted like we could see them back in the Super Bowl if Julio continues to play this way.
I think so, but at the same time, I don't know. Like they're just something about him that's weird. Like their whole O line is hurt. Chris Godwin's probably not going to play next week now, and he's still kind of recovering from an ACL. They kind of rushed him back. Um, Evans is back. Evans is probably going to the Hall of Fame. Julio, like, yeah, he looked good yesterday, but as the weeks go on, he might become less explosive. He is older. He wasn't good last year with the Titans, and like Tom Brady, like let's be honest, he's got some stuff going on. I don't know what it is. Giselle Bahama trip. Who cares? Like not who cares, but I don't know. And it could be a distraction. And also, Todd Bowles, head coach, is not Bruce Arians. So you're gonna lean a lot on like like the Dallas defense is good. That's the one thing Dallas had going for them in this year before Dak, obviously his thumb. That Michael Parsons might be a top 10 player in football. Definitely defensively top 10 player. Trayvon Diggs looked really good yesterday. Their defense looked amazing. Like they had a couple. They struggled against the run a little bit, but they scored one touchdown in the Bucks. Like the Bucks, like I don't know if the Bucks look sloppy or the Cowboys defense is that good, because the Cowboys defense, like very rarely did they get to third down like in like scoring territory or the red zone, and very rarely did they give it up. And they defensively they were sound penalty wise. Like offensively they weren't, but defensively I don't think they had a penalty on defense, and that's a massive upgrade from last year. But the offensive penalties still rolled in, and I don't know. It's just Dallas, it's like the season is probably over just because it's hard to win without your quarterback. Like no one's gonna fault them now for losing. But when it comes to the Bucks, like I don't know. I mean, their division's weak. The NFC South is weak.
Mina Kimes tweeted, she was like, I know it's not the time to bring this up, but like maybe they should have addressed the backup quarterback like when Cooper first came in the game.
Uh, I hate that approach because without your starting quarterback with a roster like the Cowboys, you're not winning no matter who your backup quarterback is. Like the Browns got Jacoby Brissett, who is a career backup, but he's one of the better backups because they knew Deshaun Watson wasn't going to be there. Last year they paid KCM a lot of money, but he was one of the better backups in the league. Look at the best teams in the league. You don't know who Mahomes' backup is. You don't know who Justin Herbert's backup is. You don't know who Joe Burrow's back. Because if you lose your quarterback, your season's over. So like investing in a backup quarterback is worth it depending on your team. Like if you have Tom Brady, who cares who your backup quarterback is? Because if he's playing, that's a problem.
Exactly. And I'll ask you this too. If you want to leave off on this, we can.
That's good.
Do they go? I saw Nick Wright say, do they go for Jimmy G or do they think about it?
See, like, I think the Cowboys kind of have to look themselves in the mirror and say, like, okay, we're not winning the Super Bowl this year. Like, is this worth making the playoffs or going 9-8? Also, Jimmy G would have how long to learn the playbook? 3 weeks. And then by the time that's a month, then Dak's going to be back in 3 weeks. Like, if Dak was out for the year, I'd get it. But I think as the Cowboys, you kind of have to punt this season. I wouldn't be – if the Cowboys just lost last night and Dak didn't get hurt, I wouldn't be saying this. But Dak's hurt now. Dak's out 8 weeks. You're not going to win many games. You might go 2-6, 1-7. Like, it might get ugly, like really ugly. I think you got to look yourself in the mirror and be like, okay, punt this year, tank, get that top pick or top 5 pick, either trade out for multiple firsts or pick a stud and cut ties with, unfortunately, you might have to cut ties with Zeke after this year. You got no guaranteed money left. You cut ties with Tyron Smith, and you start getting younger. You start rebuilding. And rebuilding in the NFL, if you're the Dallas Cowboys, is not as hard as rebuilding if you're the Jacksonville Jaguars. Because guys want to play for the Cowboys, whether like the brand matters or whatever. You have a franchise quarterback, in my opinion, Dak Prescott. I think yesterday he looked awful, but we've seen it. We threw 37 touchdowns last year. CeeDee Lamb is still jury's still out if he's a 1 because the whole Cooper narrative, and Zeke you probably got to move off of. Pollard you might lose because he's only got 1 year left on his deal. You still got Zach Martin there, but they're not getting any younger. DeMarcus Lawrence is not getting younger. Micah Parsons is a stud, but you can't waste his prime years before he gets paid. So you got to look yourself in the mirror and retool quick rather than try to win this year when you know it's kind of out of reach now.
Yeah, and like I got multiple friends who are fans. Like I feel for them. And speaking of, elsewhere around the division, like we said, Giants.
Because the Cowboys I'll get into the Giants, but the Cowboys do have a lot of cap space too. So it's not like they're dealing with some sick like cap hell. Like the Atlanta Falcons are last in cap space. I don't know how you do that when you are literally trotting out Marcus Mariota, and I mean Drake London's a rookie. You're trying out no names like Cordero Patterson's your running back. He played well yesterday, but he's not like I don't know if you could. He kind of played well last year too, so maybe he's just good. But my point is that you're not going anywhere, and you're last in cap space. Yet teams like I'm not gloating by saying this. The Cleveland Browns, who everyone's written off because of the trade or whatever, they still have a top. I'm going to argue top 10 roster in football. I'm not saying you're going anywhere with Brissett, but they showed you yesterday. Nick Chubb's going to run you over. So is Kareem Hunt. Myles Garrett looked great. Grant Delpit had a really nice pick. DJ Moore got shut down by Denzel Ward. And they're second in cap space. Now that's going to change next year because of Watson. He gets his money next year. But you're setting yourself up. Like, even the Cowboys are kind of still set up. They have room to make moves next year and retool and not trot out Dennis Houston and Noah Brown as your 2 receiver, because in a passing league, unless you have like the Browns, you have Chubb and Hunt. But even then, they ain't win a Super Bowl till Watson gets back.
Yeah, you make a great point that if you're the Yankees, if you're the Cowboys, if
You
you're the
you
Celtics,
have the leverage because of your brand.
yeah, like, and it took the Lakers some years. I love comparing it to other sports, but the Celtics even missed the playoffs for 1 year after they traded
Yeah.
Garnett.
But and your point with the Giants, that was a great win yesterday. They probably should have lost. The guy missed a kick, but that happens in football. But
We're
it's a
happy.
bit. What's up?
I was just gonna say we're happy for
Yeah,
living locally. We're happy for the fan. We're happy for New York radio, and they haven't won. And I forget how many it was, but Scott Hansen, that's his name, right? Red
the red zone
Zone.
guy. Yeah,
Yeah, it's been X amount of years. I want to say 2016. I could be wrong. Since they went 1-0, and now you
they've been under 500 since I don't even know. But my thing with the Giants is it's not even like schematics. Like the jury's out on Brian Dable and Mike Kafka. Like we don't know, but it's a culture. It seems like, granted, it's one game. They might get blown out by Carolina this weekend, and we just change our narrative. Even though Panthers fans hate their coach too, but it's a culture change. It's an attempt to win, not lose. Joe Judge, like he was trying to do something that you can't. I said this before. You can't do it when you've never done it. You never have no credit. When you have no credibility. Brian Dable, he wants to win, and you got to set a standard, and that's got to be the standard. But you have to lead by example too. You can't be doing all this outlandish stuff when you have no credibility beforehand. And the Patriots showed that yesterday with Joe Judge calling plays. Him and Matt Patricia are calling plays, or I don't know who officially is. Just put this in perspective with the Patriots. Joe Judge, special teams coordinator. Matt Patricia, defensive coordinator. They are calling the offense. And everyone's wondering why I'm not the only one, but why I am so low on that team. But anyway, hindsight.
Did you see Dable and sit like before the comeback and before that happened? Did you see him yell?
Yeah, but that's accountability though. Like that's the whole I'm not gonna go behind your back and make some like macho statement. I'm gonna tell you how it is right to your face. And if you could deal with that, and who knows what that conversation was about. But it seemed to do something. Daniel Jones, I'm saying he played great yesterday, but he played well enough, and Saquon Barkley was healthy. And he looked great for fantasy. That was great.
That pick he threw when they were
that was bad.
When they Tennessee muffed the punt and they were 10 yards from the end zone, like he literally threw it right to him.
That was bad. But you learn from that and you win the game and you beat a quality opponent, a quality buttoned up team. It's not like Titans are never flashy, but they're not going to commit penalties. They're not going to turn the ball over, and they're not going to beat themselves. And you force them to to try. They're not try harder, but you beat them. You flat out beat them. And we'll see where it goes from here. I'm a Giant. Like I don't care about the Giants, but it looks better than the other team in New York, the other team in MetLife. But that's I think all we got for this week. You got any last words, Rob?
Nothing. We'll see if they can continue. We'll see how Dallas bounces back. I agree with you. We'll see if Tampa could be better. We'll see if Rodgers can bounce back.
Yeah, well, that's a little weird, that situation. I don't know. The Green Bay's in a weird spot.
Yeah, and we'll see, the Jets we expected. We'll see how the Chiefs continue to dominate, really.
I was not surprised by all that at all by that yesterday. But all right, you guys know where to find us. We will see you next week at the same time, same place. We're gonna get this out every week now. We got this going. Next week's gonna be a little more variety. We got our let us know how you think about our standings. I'll post something on Instagram. And that's all we got. And see you guys next week.
Yep. Yes, sir. Later, pal.